Ever wondered what goes on in the silent corridors of no contact? Is it merely a pause or a profound transformation? Welcome back to our channel, where we dissect the intricacies of relationships through the lens of self-growth and the timeless tenets of Stoic philosophy. Today, we delve into a highly requested topic that piques the curiosity of many: the no-contact rule. We're not just talking about any aspect of it. We're exploring the emotional and psychological journey, focusing on the 9 stages a woman goes through during this period of silence. More intriguingly, we'll discuss how men can use this interval not merely as a countdown, but as an opportunity for profound personal growth by applying Stoic principles. Whether you're currently navigating the turbulent waters of a breakup, choosing to step back from a relationship for a while, or seeking ways to rekindle an old connection, understanding these stages can be a game changer. It provides a roadmap through what often feels like an emotional labyrinth, offering clarity and peace of mind when you need it most. As we dive into these insights, remember that each stage holds key lessons and opportunities for growth, making no contact not just a strategy, but a transformative journey. So buckle up and let's embark on this enlightening exploration together. And if you're finding our content helpful and want to continue your journey of relationship mastery with us, please consider giving us a like, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the notification bell. This way, you won't miss out on any of our empowering discussions designed to help you cultivate resilience and wisdom in your personal life. Let's dive into the heart of today's topic and uncover the hidden growth opportunities that await during no contact. Stage 1. Initial shock and denial. Imagine the moment you step away from someone you've been close to for so long. It's like pulling the plug on something familiar, something that gave you warmth. For a woman, that first stage of no contact feels like an emotional earthquake. It shakes her to the core, leaving her in shock. She's used to your presence, your voice, your messages, your energy. Now, all of that is gone. She might feel lost, as if the ground has suddenly disappeared from beneath her feet. And so, the mind does what it often does when faced with the unfamiliar. It denies the truth. This is just a phase, she tells herself. He'll come back. This won't last. In the midst of this, she's trying to process the reality that things have shifted, whether she's ready for it or not. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism comes into play. As a man committed to this philosophy, you understand that you cannot control the emotions of others. Her shock, her denial, these are not things within your power to change. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Her reaction is an outside event. It's part of the uncontrollable external world that Stoicism teaches us to accept. What you can control, however, is your response. You may feel the urge to reach out, to comfort her, to break the silence just to ease the discomfort you sense she's going through. But that is not your role now. In this stage, patience becomes your greatest ally. The Stoic in you knows that rushing back would not solve anything. It would merely disrupt the process of healing and self-reflection that is now unfolding. For both you and her, this period of no contact offers something precious: the space to reflect. Without constant communication, there is room to breathe, to think, to reassess. It may feel unsettling at first, but within this silence, clarity begins to emerge. The emotions she is experiencing, shock and denial, are part of her journey, just as your restraint and calmness are part of yours. An example from daily life could be a moment when you've decided to put your phone down, resisting the urge to check for a message that hasn't come. That stillness, that waiting, feels uncomfortable, right? But just like in any practice of self-control, you realize that each time you resist the urge, you strengthen your ability to endure discomfort. Stoicism isn't about avoiding pain or difficult emotions. It's about acknowledging them without letting them dictate your actions. So, in this stage, remind yourself that just because she is in shock or denial, it doesn't mean you need to jump in and fix things. It's not your responsibility to soothe her feelings at this moment. Your task is to maintain your calm, to stay grounded, and to allow the process to run its course. In time, both of you will gain a clearer perspective. Stage 2. Curiosity and self-reflection. After the silence stretches for days or even weeks, she begins to settle into a different emotional rhythm. The initial sting of confusion, frustration, or even sadness starts to fade. In its place, curiosity begins to creep in, small but persistent. She starts to ask herself the questions she didn't have time or space for before. Why isn't he reaching out? Is he doing fine without me? Has he moved on, or is he thinking about me too? It's natural for these questions to arise, especially when there's no communication. Her mind may wander to what you're doing, who you're with, and whether the silence is intentional or just a byproduct of stubbornness or pride. This curiosity can lead her to reflect not only on your absence, but on the relationship itself. She might think back to the moments that defined your connection, both the good and the bad. This introspection often opens the door to self-reflection, a stage where she assesses what worked and what didn't, and more importantly, how she felt throughout the course of your relationship. But here's the key. While she's in this state of reflection, so should you be. The beauty of this stage is that it's not just about waiting for her to come to conclusions. It's about you doing the work, too. In Stoicism, self-reflection is considered one of the most valuable tools for growth. The Stoics didn't believe in looking back with regret, but in looking back with purpose. Now is your opportunity to do just that. Start by asking yourself some honest questions. What role did I play in our conflicts? Did I communicate my needs and boundaries effectively? Was I fully present, or did I take things for granted? These questions might stir up uncomfortable feelings, but that's the point of self-reflection. The Stoics believed that growth is born from discomfort, from pushing ourselves to face our truths without fear or excuses. Think of this time as a mirror. As she reflects on her emotions, you should be holding up a mirror to yourself as well. For example, maybe you realize that during arguments, you tended to shut down, leaving her feeling unheard. Or perhaps you were too focused on fixing her problems instead of simply being there to listen. These realizations, though difficult, are where growth begins. In Stoicism, the goal is to align your actions with your core values, to act with integrity, honesty, and emotional clarity. Use this period of no contact to assess whether your actions aligned with who you truly want to be, both as a partner and as an individual. But remember, this isn't about guilt or self-pity. It's about taking responsibility and learning from the past, so you can emerge from this experience as a stronger, more grounded version of yourself. The Stoics taught us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. You can't control her thoughts or emotions, but you can control how you show up for yourself during this time. Let's be real. The temptation to break the silence might feel overwhelming. You might be curious about her thoughts too, or you may want to clarify things and end the uncertainty. But here's where Stoicism calls for patience. Resist the urge to act out of impulse. Give her the space to fully explore her own reflections, just as you're doing for yourself. This time apart is valuable for both of you. When we rush to fill the silence, we often rob ourselves of the deeper understanding that comes from stillness. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, advised that in any challenge, we must first control our own emotions and reactions. No contact provides that exact challenge. It pushes you to remain calm, centered, and reflective, rather than reactive. You may not realize it now, but this is where real growth happens. Whether the relationship rekindles or not, this stage gives both of you a chance to evaluate your emotional needs, your values, and your expectations moving forward. This isn't just no contact, it's an opportunity for transformation, yours and hers. Both of you will come out of this period different than you entered it, and that's where the potential for a deeper connection or newfound peace truly lies. Now, take a moment to pause and reflect. How do you feel about this stage of curiosity and self-reflection? Not just from her side, but from your own as well. What insights have you gained about your role, your actions, and the relationship itself? I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments, or simply type, "I embrace this time for growth and clarity." This is your opportunity to step into a new level of self-awareness, so use this time wisely and with purpose. Now, let's continue. Stage 3. Realization of loss. As the days or weeks go by, she will start to feel the full weight of your absence, not just of your physical presence, but of your energy, your support, your steady presence in her life. What she once took for granted, those little moments of reassurance, your words of comfort, the way you were always there, is now a glaring void. She starts to realize that this absence isn't just temporary. It's something she now has to live with. This is when the weight of your absence really begins to sink in. She reflects on the space you used to fill, and it's not just about the conversations or the time spent together. It's the comfort and familiarity, the emotional connection she no longer has immediate access to. This stage, this realization of loss, often comes with a sense of regret, a sense of what if? The moment when she truly begins to understand what she had with you, and more importantly, what she no longer has. For you, this is a critical point, not because of what she is going through, but because of how you, as a Stoic man, choose to handle this phase. Stoicism teaches us to embrace life's impermanence, to recognize that nothing in this world is guaranteed to last forever. Not relationships, not feelings, not situations. It's an uncomfortable truth, but one that brings with it a deep sense of peace when you fully accept it. In the context of this no-contact phase, this realization becomes even more powerful. The end of a relationship, or even the temporary pause in one, is just another reminder that everything in life is fleeting. This understanding allows you to detach from the outcome, from the need for her to realize your value or come back into your life. At this stage, while she might be wrestling with her own emotions and reflections, your role is not to wait on her recognition. It's not to sit by hoping she'll come to her senses. Instead, your focus is on something deeper, becoming the man of virtue that Stoicism encourages you to be. You see, in Stoicism, your value is not contingent on external validation. Your worth doesn't rise or fall based on whether she recognizes what she's lost. Your value comes from within. How you live, how you act, how you stand by your principles, even in times of uncertainty. Think of it this way. Life, much like relationships, is like the shifting tide of the ocean. Some days the waters are calm, other days turbulent. But regardless of what happens, the ocean remains constant in its purpose. You too should remain constant. unshaken by the external circumstances around you. Whether or not she realizes the depth of what she's lost is not something you can control, and Stoicism teaches you to accept that. Instead, you control how you respond, how you continue to build yourself up, and how you maintain your sense of self-worth. During this stage, it's natural to wonder what will happen next. Will she reach out? Will the space between you shrink, or will it grow even wider? The truth is, that's not for you to predict or control. What you control is how you handle this moment of uncertainty. As a Stoic man, you embrace the impermanence of the situation and release the desire for a specific outcome. You focus on your own journey of growth, on building a life of purpose, of integrity, of self-respect. Consider a tree standing tall in a storm. The wind may blow, the rain may fall, but the tree stands firm, its roots deep in the ground. In the same way, while she may be reflecting on what she's lost, you remain grounded in who you are. The realization she may be going through doesn't change your direction. You are focused on living a life aligned with your values, on being a man of virtue, regardless of external recognition. This stage, for her, is one of deep reflection and maybe even regret. But for you, it's a reminder of something much more important, that true strength comes from within. By embracing the Stoic mindset, you free yourself from the need for her validation and instead turn your focus inward. You are not waiting for her to realize your value. You already know your worth. Your life continues to move forward, shaped by the choices you make, by the principles you uphold, and by the virtue you strive to embody. In the end, her realization of loss is hers alone. Your journey, as a Stoic man, is to live in alignment with your purpose, to grow through the experience, and to understand that everything, even love, even loss, is a part of life's ebb and flow. Let her reflection be hers, and let your path be one of unwavering strength, integrity, and peace. Stage 4. Emotional roller coaster. By now, her emotions may be all over the place. One moment, she might be overwhelmed with anger, frustration, or even sadness, wondering why things went the way they did. Next, she may feel a strong urge to reach out, thinking maybe a single message could fix things. But then, almost just as quickly, she pulls back, telling herself she's better off without you. It's a confusing cycle, an emotional roller coaster that she can't quite control as she processes the space between you two. This stage is pivotal because it's not just about her emotions, it's about how you handle yours. As a man grounded in Stoicism, this is where your principles truly come into play. The Stoics believed that emotions, while natural, should never be the driving force of our actions. You see, it's not about ignoring how you feel or pretending those emotions don't exist. It's about recognizing them, understanding their source, and maintaining control over your response. Your emotional resilience is your power. Let's take an example. She's having one of those days where she's furious, sending indirect signals on social media, maybe even hoping you'll see it and react. You might feel a rush of emotion, hurt, confusion, maybe even the temptation to respond and defend yourself. But this is where the Stoic in you must rise. In that moment, instead of reacting impulsively, you take a deep breath, detach yourself from the need for immediate action, and remind yourself that her emotions are part of her process. They are not yours to fix or to be swayed by. Marcus Aurelius often said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. And this is exactly what you're being called to do. You don't control her emotional waves, but you do control your response to them. You remain calm, collected and grounded, refusing to let her emotional highs and lows dictate your peace. No contact is not just a break in communication. It's a test of your emotional fortitude. Can you stay steady when things feel uncertain? Can you maintain your composure when she's struggling with her own emotional turbulence? The answer lies in your ability to embody the Stoic philosophy, to be unwavering in the face of unpredictability. By showing this level of self-control, you're not just becoming more resilient for yourself, you're also displaying the very qualities that make you more attractive and respected in the long run. A man who doesn't get swept up in emotional chaos is a man who exudes strength, maturity, and confidence. And ultimately, that's what stands out during this period of no contact. It's your calm presence, your ability to stay true to your principles, that will leave a lasting impression. Now it's time to pause and reflect. How do you manage your emotions when faced with uncertainty? Are you able to maintain your composure, or do you find yourself tempted to react impulsively? Take a moment to think about how the principles of Stoicism can support your emotional resilience during this time. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on how you handle emotional challenges, or simply type, "I choose to stay grounded." Let's see where this reflection takes you. Stage 5. Appreciation and Acknowledgement. As the no-contact period stretches on, something subtle yet powerful begins to happen in her mind. At first, there was a whirlwind of emotions: anger, confusion, perhaps even relief. But now, in the quiet space that time and distance have created, she starts to reflect more deeply. And it's in this stillness that appreciation often begins to surface. She starts to remember the small things, the things that once seemed ordinary, but now stand out in sharp clarity. Your reliability, the way you always showed up when it mattered. Your support, the way you listened when she needed to vent or offered encouragement when she was down. The care you poured into the relationship in ways that were perhaps unnoticed at the time. These moments now come back to her, and with them, a sense of gratitude for what you brought into her life. This is a stage where she begins to acknowledge the value of your presence, realizing that your role in her life wasn't as easily replaceable as it might have seemed in the heat of the moment. Now, while she is going through this stage of appreciation, it's equally important that you, too, embrace a similar practice: gratitude. But this is where Stoicism really shines. As a Stoic man, you understand that true gratitude isn't conditional on whether or not she comes back. It's about recognizing the lessons and growth you've experienced through this journey, no matter the outcome. Think about it. What have you gained during this period of no contact? Maybe it's time to reflect on your own needs and desires in a relationship, or perhaps you've grown in ways you hadn't expected. Stoicism teaches us that every experience, even the painful ones, has something to offer us. Just like she's beginning to appreciate what you brought to the relationship, you can start appreciating what this separation has brought to you. For example, instead of dwelling on the absence, focus on what you've gained. Maybe it's a stronger sense of independence, or perhaps a deeper understanding of what truly matters to you. Use this time to reflect on your values, your goals, and the kind of man you want to be. In this way, you're both in a stage of acknowledgement. She's beginning to recognize what she had with you, while you're learning to appreciate the lessons this period is teaching you. And here's the beauty of it. Whether she returns or not, you're better for having gone through this. You're evolving, growing, and becoming a more resilient version of yourself. This is where Stoicism really comes into play. A Stoic man knows that he can't control whether she comes back or not, but he can control his response to the situation. He can choose to focus on gratitude, on growth, and on becoming a better person through it all. And that's the real victory. Whether she acknowledges it or not, you're coming out of this experience stronger, wiser, and more in tune with yourself. In the end, no matter what happens, you've learned to value yourself in ways that perhaps you didn't before. You've realized that every step of this journey, even the hardest parts, has contributed to your personal growth. That's something no one can take away from you. And as a Stoic, you recognize that's the most important thing of all. Stage 6. Fear of losing you forever. It's at this stage, after a prolonged period of no contact, that a profound fear begins to take root in her mind. The fear of losing you permanently. The silence becomes heavier, and the distance feels more significant. She may start to question everything. Is he truly moving on? Has he found peace without me? This fear can grow louder as she realizes the possibility that you may never return. It's a stage where she may begin to reflect deeply, wondering if she should take action before it's too late. This fear is powerful. It's not just about missing you anymore. It's the dread of you becoming a memory, someone who was once significant but is now fading away. And as this fear sets in, she might begin to imagine the worst-case scenario, that you've moved on without her, that the life she envisioned with you is slipping through her fingers. The weight of these thoughts can push her to reevaluate her choices, and she may even feel compelled to reach out. But here's where Stoicism offers its wisdom. As a man who embraces Stoic principles, it's essential to understand that fear, whether hers or yours, should never be the driving force behind your actions. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's great philosophers, said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This quote is especially relevant during this stage. The fear of losing someone is often amplified by our own minds. We create scenarios, worry about outcomes, and lose sight of the present moment. Now she may be panicking, wondering if she's lost you forever. But as a Stoic, your focus is not on her fears. It's on maintaining your peace. You have come this far without letting anxiety dictate your steps. The Stoic path teaches you to release attachment to outcomes. You are not defined by whether she comes back or not. What matters is your growth, your resilience, and your ability to stay grounded in the face of uncertainty. You have worked on yourself during this time. You have prioritized your self-worth and personal development. This fear she's experiencing is a reflection of the distance between her past choices and the reality of who you've become. But you don't need to chase after her or let her fears sway you. If she's meant to come back into your life, she will. If not, you are prepared to continue forward with strength and clarity. Your peace, after all, does not depend on external events or people. It comes from within. This is what Stoicism is about: mastering the self, not being mastered by external circumstances. Fear is a natural emotion, but it should never control you. Trust in the process, trust in your growth, and trust that whatever happens, you will remain unshaken. In this stage of no contact, while she may be gripped by fear, you continue on your path of inner peace and self-respect. If she chooses to return, she will meet a man who is centered, calm, and unaffected by fear. If she doesn't, it changes nothing about your journey. You remain steadfast, grounded in the wisdom of Stoicism. If you've made it this far, it shows that you're deeply invested in understanding the dynamics of this stage and the role Stoicism plays in maintaining your peace of mind. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you experienced or witnessed a similar situation? How did you handle it? Or how do you think Stoic principles could help in such moments of uncertainty? Leave a comment below and share your perspective. Your insights could help others on a similar journey. Let's keep the conversation going. Stage 7. Contemplation of Reconnection. Imagine this. After a stretch of silence, she finds herself staring at her phone, thoughts racing. The silence between you, once a source of strength, now feels like a void she's tempted to fill. This is the stage where she starts seriously thinking about reaching out. Reconnection isn't just a fleeting thought anymore, it's a possibility that lingers in her mind. She reflects on what was, what she might have lost, and what she truly wants going forward. But here's the crucial part. She's torn. Should she take that first step, or should she wait for you to break the silence? This inner debate can be overwhelming. It's a tug-of-war between her pride, her desire for connection, and the uncertainty of your response. This stage is where your own self-reflection becomes vital. If she does reach out, take a moment to pause and ask yourself some important questions. Is reconnecting the right move for you? What are your true motivations? Are you considering this because you genuinely see potential in rebuilding a positive, healthy relationship? Or are you, like her, feeling the weight of silence and thinking of reconnection out of fear, loneliness, or a need for validation? Stoicism teaches us to approach these decisions with reason and clarity. In Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, he reminds us to ask ourselves what is truly within our control. If you are reconnecting, is it from a place of calm, strength, and conviction? Or is it driven by desperation or insecurity? Be brutally honest with yourself, as the Stoics would counsel. Let's look at an example. If she reaches out with a simple, "Hey," after weeks of no contact, your instinct might be to respond immediately, driven by the anxiety of what might happen if you don't. But a Stoic approach would encourage you to pause. What's your reasoning? Do you believe that re-establishing communication is what will serve both of you in the long run, or is it a knee-jerk reaction to break the silence? If you choose to reconnect, do it from a place of strength, not because you fear being alone or because the silence is uncomfortable. And if you decide not to, continue confidently on your own path, knowing you're making the best decision for your well-being. As Epictetus would say, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. In either case, your decision should be a reflection of your values and inner peace, not a reaction to external pressure. This is how Stoicism can guide you through the complexities of relationships and no contact. Whether you choose to step forward or remain steadfast in your silence, make sure it's with the clarity of mind and strength of character that only true self-reflection can bring. Stage 8. Waiting for your move. At this point, she's either ready to reach out or is waiting for you to make the first move. Her emotions have been on a roller coaster during this no-contact period. She's gone through confusion, hurt, and maybe even anger. But now, after processing everything, she finds herself at a crossroads. Do I reach out to him? Should I wait for him to make the first move? The decision is not easy, but she's ready. The question now isn't just about her feelings. It's about the possibility of reconnecting or walking away for good. For you, standing on the other side, this is a pivotal moment too. And here's where Stoicism can be your guiding force. In this stage, the temptation to act impulsively, to break no contact out of fear or impatience, can be overwhelming. But as a Stoic, you know that your actions should always be rooted in reason, not dictated by the whims of your emotions or the anxiety of losing her. Let's use an example. You feel an intense urge to text her. Maybe you've been missing her a lot lately, or you're afraid that the longer you stay quiet, the more she's slipping away. But before you make that move, ask yourself, is this coming from a place of clarity, or are you simply acting out of fear? A Stoic man steps back from his emotions and looks at the situation with a clear mind. If reaching out feels right, it should be because you've thought it through, not because you're trying to avoid discomfort. On the other hand, if she reaches out first, it's easy to feel a rush of emotions, relief, excitement, maybe even confusion. But here again, the Stoic path requires you to pause. Evaluate the situation calmly. Ask yourself, will reconnecting lead to a healthier, stronger relationship this time around? Or will it just drag you back into an unhealthy cycle of the past? Remember, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, our responses. We can't control her decisions or how she feels, but we can control how we show up in this moment. In this stage, whether you reach out or respond, act with intention and thoughtfulness. A Stoic man does not make his moves in haste. He understands that emotions are fleeting, but reason should always be the foundation of his decisions. So, when that moment comes, be it her reaching out or you deciding to make the first move, remember, your actions must align with your values, not your fears. Choose wisely, for it's in these moments of calm, not chaos, that true connection is built. Stage 9. Reconnection and positive growth. Reconnecting after a period of no contact marks the beginning of a new chapter, but it should be approached with care and intention. If she's reaching out, it's a sign that she has likely had time to reflect and recognize your value. However, the process of rebuilding should never be rushed. It must be grounded in mutual respect and understanding. This is where the work you've done on yourself truly matters. A Stoic man understands that a relationship is only as strong as the individuals in it. During the no-contact period, you focused on personal growth, mastering control over your emotions, setting firm boundaries, and reinforcing your sense of self-worth. Now, as the possibility of reconnection presents itself, there's an opportunity for the relationship to evolve into something healthier, but only if both of you have put in the work. When she reaches out, it's likely because she's come to appreciate your presence in her life. She may have a renewed understanding of your value and could be approaching you from a place of deeper appreciation. Still, this is not the time to let your guard down completely. Rebuilding a relationship after no contact requires mutual respect, patience, and thoughtful communication. If you both decide to reconnect, it's crucial to enter this phase intentionally, with clear expectations. So how do you approach this moment with a Stoic mindset? First and foremost, stay grounded. Don't allow the excitement of reconnection to cloud your judgment. It's easy to fall back into old patterns, but a Stoic man remains clear-headed and self-aware. Reflect on the lessons you've learned during the no-contact period. What insights have you gained about yourself and your emotional triggers? How can you apply these lessons to build a stronger, more resilient relationship moving forward? Take your time. In this stage, honest communication is essential. Discuss what led to the no-contact period. What issues needed to be resolved? How can both of you avoid repeating the same mistakes? This is where the Stoic principle of rational decision-making is vital. Openly talk about your expectations, boundaries, and hopes for the relationship's future. Be transparent, but never compromise your self-respect. If she's willing to reconnect and work through these issues with you, it's a positive sign. Together, you can build something even stronger. But remember, reconnection isn't about returning to the way things were. It's about creating a new foundation based on mutual respect, emotional strength, and a deeper understanding of each other's needs. However, if you find that the same issues persist or that she hasn't truly acknowledged your value, then it's time to reconsider whether this relationship is worth continuing. A Stoic man values his peace of mind and understands that staying in a relationship that no longer serves his higher purpose isn't the right path. Reconnection doesn't mean going backward. It's an opportunity to build something better. And sometimes, building better means recognizing when it's time to move forward, whether that's together or apart. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Whether the reconnection strengthens the relationship or not, your inner peace and growth should always remain your top priorities. So, there you have it. The 9 stages a woman goes through during no contact, and how you, as a man, can navigate this emotionally charged period with the strength and wisdom of a Stoic. No contact isn't just a tactic to make her miss you. It's a crucial opportunity for self-reflection, growth, and emotional clarity. This period is about reclaiming your inner peace, becoming more grounded, and emerging as a stronger version of yourself. Whether she decides to come back into your life or not, the most important outcome is the transformation you undergo, becoming a man who is emotionally resilient, wise, and deeply aware of his own value. If you found this video helpful, take a moment to hit that like button. It really helps the channel reach more people who might benefit from this message. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay updated with future videos that dive even deeper into the power of Stoicism in modern relationships. And of course, share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your own experiences with no contact and how Stoic principles have guided you through those challenging moments. Before you go, I highly recommend watching the videos on your screen. Each one offers more insights on how to apply Stoicism to your relationships and personal growth. Stay strong, stay grounded, and remember, your peace is your ultimate power.